All right, the voices in my ear are telling me we're ready, so I have a custom-made intro for our next run, courtesy of its commentator, Happy by 3. Game good, yeah. You're a little cat, and you have to clean up the afterlife and make friends so that you and your friends can break into the palace of the Queen of the Afterlife and use a magic mirror to go back to Earth and visit your families again. Also, walls are suggestions, and we skipped like 4 or 5 boss fights, Lamau. I could not have said it better myself. Show us how sharp your skills and your claws are, Daemonweave.
Thank you. I'm Daemonweave, and I'll be our runner this evening for Crypt Custodian. And I'm joined by, as well, Happy by 3.
Hello, that's me. Hey, before you start, can you share the Discord again so I can watch?
Also me, please.
Yeah. In the meantime, while Demon gets that going, hi, I'm Happy by 3. This is Crypt Custodian. As T-Tree said, it's super cute and great and lovely. T-Tree was like, send me some information about the game so I can write an intro, and I said that. And they're just like, I'm gonna read it verbatim. Like, all right.
Yep. No, this is if you are familiar with this dev, you may know them from their other runs. Sheepo, a very cute platformer that I had the fortune of hosting for a Games Done Quick event a few years ago. And then also, is it Islets or Islets? Islets, which you would know if you know its runner, Happy by 3. Yeah. So, yeah, no, this is another game from that same developer. I was going to say dev team, and I'm like, wait, that's not right, is it?
Just Kyle. Yeah, cool. All right, Demon, I can see your stream, so if you want to get partying, I'm
Well,
good.
without further ado, I'm looking forward to show off Crypt Custodian any % on easy. As we get a cool little intro into our main character, Pluto, going into the animal spirit realm. Oh, dear Pluto.
Lil Pluto.
You've
That's
met
us. We're just a
terrible
little
fate,
guy.
haven't you?
Yeah, basically.
Our in-game timer will begin once the gameplay starts. So on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we basically have a skip in the second room. So I'm going to immediately talk about that so that we don't miss it. This intro section, we kind of load into the afterlife, and this little guy is like, welcome, everything's fine, don't worry, go find a broom. So we run over here and we can skip the cycle on the second platform. You're supposed to have to wait until it comes back, but if we jump right there, roll and jump, we can get across, and we are already skipping stuff. And then head up, grab our broom. The most important part, obviously, of anybody's early afterlife experience is cleaning. And there's no way for us to get to the palace unless we break those statues. So we have to break the statues to get here. And then we run into Kendra, the sort of queen of the afterlife, and Kendra's going to decide if we go to that good place on the right or the bad place on the left. And Kendra's like, oh, you had such a good life, you look so great. Wait a minute, you broke my statues? You're going to the bad part. Again, we had no choice but to break the statues. So now we've been sentenced to clean up the afterlife for the rest of eternity, and you're going to notice the demon actually is cleaning some stuff in this first area. That trash is our currency, and we're going to need a good chunk of currency to get a really important upgrade about 8-ish minutes into the run. So we've routed out where we collect that trash pretty specifically. And you already saw a skip, and there's another one. You'll notice, it's gonna happen one more time here, that demon is slam attacking at the end of some of these jumps. That slam attack gives you just the tiniest little bit of extra horizontal distance so that we can make some jumps we're not supposed to make.
Like that. That's
yeah, and you may have noticed we also skipped the door at the front of those stairs. Literally all you have to do is jump and hold like up and you get onto the stairs. It's probably the easiest skip in the whole game, and it looks like it should be very difficult. Demon just picked up a jukebox disc. We're going to collect 3 of those. That's part of our money routing. When we get to the Sinner's Inn, which is the kind of central hub where we can get our upgrades and everything, those 3 are going to give us extra money. And now we're getting our first fighting. So you may notice one of 2 things happens when demon attacks. You either see a swipe or a little like carrot arrow shape. The arrow is a dash attack, and demon discovered pretty early on that if we mash dash and attack at the right tempo, we can chain dash attacks together, and they do a lot more damage than regular attacks. But the timing is pretty precise. If you just mash as quickly as you can, you don't quite get them. But if you're too slow, you'll slash a bunch before you get your next dash. So anytime you see multiple dash attacks together, that is demon doing what we think are basically frame perfect timings over and over again to chain those attacks. Which is why, 1, you won't see them all the time, but when you do see a lot of them, it's really, really impressive. This is another good example of a skip where we can just barely make it if we jump and slam. This one is tighter than it looks. And that is no big thing. We just hold Y to skip real quick. That brings us back to our most recent save. And if you happen to have a donation, we're just going to run back for maybe like 30 seconds. So if you have anything to talk about, now's a cool time.
Yeah, absolutely. Great time to mention that we are working our way towards that $200 incentive for the boss rush. We are at 135 right now, so making great progress. Thank you to people like the Valiant Sun with a $25 donation that says, "Cat game, cat game, cat game." So hyped to see Crypt, Custodian, both Demon and Happy have done so much for this game and community, and I'm so excited to see it shown off. I promise you, chat, you'll want to see the boss rush.
Cat game, cat game.
We love
Thanks,
cat
Valiant
games.
Sun. Okay, game good. You may have noticed that Demon got that skip first try after coming back. We were just talking about this in setup. I swear to God, that's always how it happens. If you die trying to do a skip, you get it the first time after the walk back. I don't know what it is. It always happens to me.
There's something to be said about the power of salty runbacks.
Absolutely. This is our first boss fight, the pot full of spiders. We're pretty much just going to chain dash attacks and take damage. As you can see, dash attacks do a ton of damage. So by the time the boss can hit us 4 times, we've already won. So we just do enough damage fast enough to attack it a bunch. And then we do a quick return to shrine because it is faster to run back into the arena here than to go through all the dialogue in the cutscene with that character. And we get our first ability upgrade, the air dash. So this is going to change the basic movement that we use for pretty much the rest of the game. You'll notice the demon is doing like dash, jump, dash pretty much everywhere. We also discovered that you can use dash before it's ready if you kind of like dash, jump, dash in succession. So we're basically able to dash twice as often as like the vanilla dash reset would give us, which obviously is faster than dashing half as much. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about, so I will probably always try to be talking about something because Demon has a very hard job, but if you ever want to interrupt me, feel free.
No, I get it. This is absolutely my running and commentary style too. There's
a lot going on here. Right now is pretty chill time though, because we are just collecting more trash. And the magic number there is 1865 in the top right. If we have 1865 when we go to get the upgrade, then 1865 plus the 3 CDs will be enough. This is a fun little, we can just go behind there and save a couple seconds. We have a lot of little movement optimization like that, you'll notice, where like you look at the room. Oh, this is the one skip I've contributed. Hooray, I found that. I think that's the only thing I found. There's a lot of little optimized movement where you'll notice, like, you look at the level and the obvious way to get through it is, you know, clear, but we will not do that because we found some other sideways thing. So there, Demon went just a little out of the way to get some extra garbage, because now this should put us really close, kill a couple of these guys, and there's that 1865. So now we are good to go. We can teleport back. That actually, the reason Demon wasn't able to return to Shrine right away there is because he went too fast. I have discovered if you go to the return to Shrine too quickly, it doesn't work right away. So you were too fast for your own good, Demon. So what happened there, that kind of happened in a flash because Demon's very good at menuing. Basically, Demon went into the Sinner's Inn, bought the first upgrade that we are required to have, which is the first special attack, the like broom spin, and then bought the quick foot upgrade, which not only makes us move faster, but because quick foot increases the distance of your dashes, it actually makes some skips possible. There's at least one skip in the run that is literally impossible if you don't have quick foot equipped, which is really fun when you're practicing. I've definitely had practice sessions before where I spend more time than I'm proud to admit trying to make a skip work, only to realize that I don't have quick foot equipped. I'm like, why can't I do this?
So often.
It's something. So this is like the one arena where you're not going to see us chain those dash attacks, because the gimmick, the kind of mechanic in this area, Neon Crest, is enemies and platforms appear and disappear when you dash. So if we chain dash attack there, it would actually be really slow because half the time we wouldn't be damaging the enemies, and if they disappear and you dash into them, you go through them, and so then you're on the other side and you're not hitting them at all, and it's like a whole thing. So we just don't do it there. And now we have a really hard boss fight. This is the first actually difficult boss fight of the run. We're just going to jump over that gap there and then not fight the boss. If you'd like to see us fight that boss, it's actually a really cool, interesting boss that takes advantage of that like enemies disappearing when you dash mechanic and requires you to make some like decisions about which enemy to attack based on their attack patterns and make one visible and one invisible, and like very cool boss. You will see it if we hit that boss rush incentive, but not in any percent because we can just jump over that gap and skip it.
There you go. I was going to ask you to level with me and say, is that boss actually difficult? But we need to see the boss rush so we can see for ourselves.
So that didn't look hard, but that is an absurdly tight cycle to get the cycle skip there. You have to dash pretty much exactly when you enter the room and then get like a really clean straight line movement and dash onto the platform to just barely clip onto it. So that saves quite a bit of time because it saves a whole cycle of those platforms, and they're pretty slow platforms. Also, ooh, that's a really interesting little optimization I didn't think of. You don't have to grab quick draw until you go back. That's another skip that saves an absurd amount of time. The intended way to do that room is to follow that platform all the way around all four sides of the room, and it takes probably 30 seconds to do it the intended way, but we can just barely make that corner skip and do it in one and save so much. But yeah, that's interesting. I love obvious optimizations like that. Like Demon didn't go grab that upgrade yet because we're gonna go back there in a second and we can grab the upgrade then. See, right here we can grab it and we're gonna go down here anyway, so that's slightly more optimal. Here we're going to go off to the side just to skip some dialogue, and then we do a really fun skip. Your slam attack has an area of effect, so if we slam attack into the Aether there, the area of effect triggers this platform, and then we can take it across, and saves us a good amount of time not doing the intended movement there. And then we also just clip through that door and don't do this entire area. We just go straight to the boss. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of walls and doors that are kind of suggestions in classic speedrunning style.
Hey, you know what I would suggest right now? I would suggest that those watching who are enjoying this content consider donating, because there are 2 open bonus items right now. There's a boss rush for this very game that needs to be met by the end of the game, $65 more there, and a little further beyond that for a bonus portal run. Exclamation point, donate in the chat to learn how.
Perfect timing, because now something interesting happens in this room. We can dash into that bubble and skip this entire room. Another thing that when you get it first try looks really easy, but is extremely precise. That bubble skip is not easy. And then we are almost done with this boss fight. Just move through these last couple platforms, and then we got him. Crouton is now our friend. And like T-Tree said in that intro, the goal here is to get 10 friends. Once we have 10 friends, we are going to storm the castle and get access to the crystal mirror, which will, rumor has it, will allow us to visit our families on Earth one more time. So we'll see if that rumor is true, but the important thing is making friends along the way, specifically 10 of them. Speaking of which, we're gonna go make another friend now.
Oh, see, I thought you were about to do my job for me. I thought you were going to say, if you and 10 friends each donate $6.
You know, you make some good points.
Not a bad idea.
If each friend donated $6. So this is another friend. This is Grizz. Grizz is just a little guy. You know, I've been wondering if it's optimal to save and quit there to just talk to him, and I think you're right. I think save and quit's probably a second faster.
Yeah, if you have your type of menuing, I feel like you got it for sure. Happy's easily got the craziest menuing.
Thank you. First try, first try. This skip is so hard. Okay, second try, we take this. Oh, I haven't seen that movement through there before, but duh. Those bubbles are obviously faster. Nice, that's smart. Be changing my movement. I was out of town for like a week and a half, so I'm expecting to have a couple little optimizations I haven't seen before, and that's definitely one of them. That's nice.
Not you learning new routing on the fly during a marathon.
It's inevitable. Demon's just that good. If you go look at the SRC board for this game, Demon has, what, a 40-23?
40-36 at the moment.
40-36. Second place is like 40-38. And then I'm in third place with like a 45. Like, Demon's just on another level.
You got this. It's just the motivation you need is the thing.
Absolutely.
I also see this game is all of like 6 weeks old.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I was traveling for 2.5 of those 6 weeks. So, you know. But that said, Demon has been the front runner from the get. Just has done so much for this game. From the demo, has been routing and finding skips and optimizing movement, and is always like super ready to help and share information with the rest of the community. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. When it comes to new games, there's nothing better than the community and what forms around it, and we've been able to find a lot of really awesome stuff in the first 6 weeks.
For sure. Yeah, if you would like to join us, the SRC page has the Discord link, and it's the same Discord for all of Kyle's games speedruns. So you can also find information about Sheepo and Islets in there, and folks to help you with all that. So now that we have both parts of the ability, this is our spirit split ability, where we're able to split our spirit out and go interact with the world with it. And then we also unlock the ability to jump with it, which let us jump across those gaps. This is another pretty tough arena that we're just gonna go ahead and not do, because that's easier. And now we go into, for me, the run killer segment, part 1. Not because there's ice physics. Normally you're like, oh, ice area, of course that's a run killer because ice. This is a run killer because that skip is extremely precise, the one around that arena. And then coming up in a second here is another very precise arena skip. And the second one, so that first one, if you miss it, you tend to just get back onto the bridge and then you just do it again. This second one, if you miss it, it triggers the arena. Let's go first try. Yeah, that is a very difficult skip, and if you miss it, it triggers the arena, and you have to like go back and lose a bunch of time. So that area can be a run killer. So getting both of those skips first try is massive. I think, depending how this boss goes, we might have a tech to talk about, but we might not. Depends how the fight goes.
Interesting.
So
based on how you talk about tech usually in a run, that's not what I was expecting. But let's
the
see it.
first level strat here is this. It is slightly faster to mash the dash attacks if you can avoid damage enough. And so far it's going well. Getting that on the second phase is good. And I think you might be good to just, yeah. So we will see the tech soon, fret not. But basically, if you take 3 damage on that fight and Ice Witch isn't low enough health, you might use the tech because it's safer, but it is faster to just mash the dash attack on that particular boss. So now we are
what you're saying, based on how you were talking about them being frame perfect, the optimal strat for that boss is just be good.
Yes.
Ah, good. Very good.
That is also the optimal strat for an upcoming boss, where you either get the perfect cycle because you're perfect, or it's RNG. This is also a very, very difficult skip. You're going to see a bit of a lineup here. Nice. Also first try. Let's go. That lineup was just making sure when you press diagonal and then right, Pluto remains facing backstage. Sometimes he can be positioned where when you press right, he looks toward you. And if you are in that position, he doesn't have enough distance to get there. So that skip is so precise that we have to have quick foot equipped, and you have to be positioned perfectly in the corner so that you don't have the 1 pixel look back when you look to the right. Just another arena fight. Nothing horribly exciting about this fight in particular. Do you have anything to share with us, T?
Very good. You know what is exciting? The progress we're making towards the Crypt Custodian boss rush incentive. We've got donations for Alice at Wonderland Games gender affirming surgery from the likes of Pebble, donating $6 and saying, "Did you know that dying is the saddest thing you can do in frog culture?" And Zokubun sending in $25, donating because I got stick bugged. Sob emoji.
Get stick bugged. That's one of my
so much to the
favorite lines in the entire game. Is Pebble, our little frog friend, is telling us their backstory. Every character has a backstory about how they got to the afterlife, and Pebble is like, "Did you know that in frog culture, dying is the saddest thing that can happen?" It's like, yeah, homie. I guess you're right.
I mean, on all the meditations on life, the afterlife, and what have you in this game, that is certainly one of them.
That's one of them, but only in frog culture.
Yeah, you know, cultural differences and all that.
Yeah. Cool little cycle skip there, where obviously we're supposed to go up and follow it around the fire, but that's slow. You'll also notice a lot of times, oh, this is a fun little cycle skip where we once again avoid the fire because bubbles are extremely forgiving. As you may have seen there, our dash doesn't go that far, but if you dash toward a bubble and you're even within another dash length of it, the game's like, I know what you meant to do, and it puts you in the bubble. Sometimes that can be annoying because sometimes the bubbles suck you in when you don't want to be there, but when you use it on purpose, it's really nice. So this is a very difficult boss. We're going to use this perfect, absolutely perfect. So what Demon did there is jump forward and then do a really, really quick hover attack where you kind of reset the stick, push it a little forward, and then dash and interrupt the dash with an attack. And when you do that in the air, it locks you in the air like this as long as you keep mashing attack. So we're able to get enough damage to kill the first phase of Rail Rider pretty much immediately, and then optimal RNG would be if he came back on the left side. Obviously we didn't get perfect RNG, but you just do the hover again and you're able to get it pretty consistently.
I'm so happy that went well. That is not
great.
Easy. Holy.
That boss fight is so hard. There's so many ways it can go wrong and so many RNG patterns that can screw you over if you don't get it absolutely perfect. That boss is really, really challenging. And now that we've used hover, you're going to see it quite a bit more in upcoming boss fights. We're going to hover a decent amount. You may have seen it happening for a second there. on like the spinny phase, and we will use it a little bit later. All right, so we just got part 1 of our boomerang, which, as you might imagine, allows us to throw our boomerang. Now we're going to go grab part 2 of the boomerang ability, which is the boomerang dash, which allows us to throw our boomerang and then dash to it. That obviously becomes very useful for some movement, and the distance of the boomerang dash is further than even a full like jump dash slam combo. So it is necessary to have to enter some areas late game. I love the skip. That skip's so easy, but it looks like it should be so ridiculous because it's like you're skipping so much wall, but it's like completely free. Just a little more spirit split stuff here. Gonna be a little safe here because if you take damage from this, it sends you all the way back. So better to lose 2 seconds being safe than like 10 seconds dying. And then we are headed toward the Tower Haunters, which is another boss that you won't get to see in any percent because recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, we discovered that you can jump infinitely if you're holding the graffiti can, which means we can jump into the loading zone for the area beyond the boss and pick this up and get our boomerang dash without fighting the boss. But we will fight that boss if you unlock the bonus run.
Unlock that bonus run, chat. Get those $6 in.
Yeah, so now something we're able to do to move a little quickly is hold down attack as we move, which loads up our boomerang, and then you can basically have it loaded up and ready to go, and then throw it and dash to it at the end of a movement sequence. Hey, can you do me a favor and not skip this text and pick the second option?
I'm
monster.
sorry.
You monster.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're great. If you do the text there and pick the second option, there's a really stupid Easter egg in one of the later cutscenes.
No, but I love stupid Easter eggs.
Oh, I've never seen this stupid Easter egg.
It's really funny. It's in my, I think it's in my PB actually. I think I stopped to do it in my PB run if you want to.
Perfect.
I really like the geometry on that last skip that we did where it looks like that next platform is quite a ways above you, but actually it doesn't account for vertical movement in that way when you're jumping platform to platform all the time. So there's a lot of places we can kind of jump from a low platform to a high platform, and the game sort of treats it as if we went across, even though you shouldn't really be able to go directly across like that. It's I'm not fully sure why it works like that, but it sure is fun. So here's just a little tech skip using boomerang dash. And then we're going to do a boss skip using the boomerang dash. So another boss that you can only see if you donate to get that boss rush.
I mean,
How
the good news is that
that?
the good news is that you only have to donate $34 more collectively. The bad news is that you have like 22 minutes, maybe.
If that. I mean,
Yeah.
run's been going well, and again, PB is like a 40-36, so we probably have like 15 or 16 minutes.
Okay, well, I stand corrected, and you have your orders, chat. Exclamation point donate. Head on over to the donation page. Make sure that you attach your donation to that incentive as you check out. And know also that it will go to our milestone incentive, looking for 3,400 to get the bonus portal run at the end of that run, which is coming up next.
So now we're in the edge with my least favorite arena in the game. All the enemies in this arena are just kind of annoying, and you can't skip this arena. These little guys, if you get enough dash attacks to kill them first phase like that, it's great. If you don't, they do this jumpy thing, and it takes so much time. It's such, ugh. They're annoying. Luckily, it's not too long, but it is a little obnoxious that we can't skip it. Yet. If I've learned anything from routing this game, it's that we can't skip it yet. Speaking of, there's a nice little skip around that gate. Ooh. That little boomerang optimization is smart. I like that. I like that. So now we're going to start doing some shenanigans with bubbles. If you throw the boomerang into a bubble and then dash into it, you can mash the dash infinitely. So we do have an infinite bubble glitch that right there saves maybe 2 seconds. It's just a small optimization. There is a spot later where the discovery of infinite bubble glitch shaved like 2 minutes off one of the later splits. That was a huge find by Demon himself.
We love bubbles. To make them infinite just makes them even better.
Yeah, bubbles were already fun. Here's another arena that we don't have to do, because boomerang dash goes a long way. And then we're gonna go meet a little guy. In honor of October, our little friend Dagobert wants to watch a scary movie with us, but he says it's the scariest movie ever. No one who's watched it has ever survived. And he's only going to let us watch it if we're a true cinephile, which is to say he lost the film reels. So we have to take the cinema key and go backtrack to 3 areas throughout the map that have these little cinema gates and unlock the gates and collect the 3 film reels so we can watch the movie with Dagobert. And it is a very scary movie, chat. Trust. I think we're going to skip the movie, but trust me, it's pretty scary. So just doing a little bit of backtracking here. This first area is obviously outside the Sinner's Inn where we started. Second area with a cinema key is Neon Crest, which was the dashing spot. And then Sculptor's Peak, where we fought that stone golem boss, is our third spot with a cinema key. The Neon Crest cinema area, the space behind this gate, has some really cool movement tech using the boomerang dash like that. We get all the way across that gap using the broom. Because when the boomerang goes into a bubble, it goes really far beyond its usual distance. We're going to do that one more time here. We should not be able to boomerang across this, but the bubble kind of extends the length of it and lets us get there very quickly. And then we head back to Sculptor's Peak. That's a little kitty statue. Hi, little guy. Another fun gate skip here. You're obviously supposed to kill all those enemies to get the gate to come down, but it's a lot of work.
As John Mulaney once said, the idea of anyone, it's so much easier not to do things than to do them. The idea of anyone doing anything is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's basically routing for this game. It's like, imagine doing that. This is another fun one where you're supposed to kind of hop across these platforms, but meh, there's a faster way to do it. I'm so convinced in my heart of hearts that if you do this perfectly, you could get the key in one cycle, but luckily we don't need to do it perfectly anymore because we have this infinite bubble. Oh, that was a smart backup. Nice.
Don't ask me why I forgot about the skip.
I like that you got the key but also did the skip. You're just flexing a little.
We're showing everything.
All right, so we got all 3 film reels, and now we're going to go back to Dagobert.
But we're not showing everything. We still need $28 more.
We need 28 more doll hairs.
Exactly.
And the movie comes to life. It's called Ghost Slaughter Part 3, and it attacks us. It's very scary. Very scary. But you know what would be even scarier, T?
What's that?
Not meeting the boss.
Yeah, missing the incentive? Yeah,
missing the incentive would be scary.
And you know who most recently helped us to get towards that incentive? It was me. I donated $6 and I said, I'm joining Pebble on the $6 train. Toot, 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 toot.
Let's go $6 train.
Please and thank you. I believe in you, chat, just like I believe in Daemonweave to finish the rest of this game extremely quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we are truly down to the wire with this. Oh, I don't know how we haven't mentioned that yet. You may notice when the new friend screen comes up, we just immediately leave. The flag for a new friend gets set pretty much immediately when that screen appears. So we don't need to wait for the whole animation to run to save and quit back to our most recent save point. We just need to... I need to learn all the bubble tech through here. Anyway, we don't need to wait for it to play out the animation. With two exceptions. Two of the early friends we do have to wait because we like walk into a room after the friend, and then later we have to sit through it with Roy because Roy's flag doesn't set until later for some reason. There's just one friend whose flag sets differently than everybody else's. Super clean fight. Really, really fast Moon Man fight. This is my favorite friend in the game, the little guys. They are collectively one friend.
They're just some little guys.
Yeah, they're just... I lost it in my casual playthrough because I'd been calling them the little guys already, and then their name pops up on the screen for the first time, and that's their canon name. I was like, this is the best day of my life. Do you have a favorite friend, Demon?
Not really. Maybe Pebble.
Fair.
Only because I've been around her the longest.
That's fair. You spent a lot of time chilling with Pebble. I respect that.
You know who my
Deep
favorite
bond.
friends are?
Chat?
More or less. I was going to say everyone watching the stream right now, but thank you for stealing my thunder.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Same idea.
Indeed.
So sorry.
No, not at all.
You know what would make you even closer friends with T, though?
I think they do. I think they could get in donations to help us meet that boss rush incentive.
We could do it. And then T would know your name, because T would have to say your name in reading the donation.
Or
Which would
any
make
name
you
you
closer
choose.
than
It doesn't
before.
have to be your name.
Yeah, you can donate with any name you want. You can donate with no name.
I mean, yeah, this isn't a Ghibli movie, but we do have a cute cat, so it fits. You could be no name.
There's something very satisfying. All the movement in this game is so satisfying, but like the boomerang dash little zip sound and the way it pulls you to it just feels really good. Oh, so we meet this guy Roy, and Roy's like, hey, you want to buy any upgrades that cost like 30,000 each? And we're like, no, I'm good. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then he shows us the back, and then we save and quit to skip his animation, and then we start hanging in the back. So similar to Mira's basement earlier, the back is one of these areas where it takes two. Demon is also the world record holder of It Takes Two and ran it for this event. It takes two gates that funnel into a central gate, and you have to open both sides before you're able to enter. So right now we are making our way toward the left gate of that. And then instead of opening the right gate, we're just going to go through that bookcase that doesn't actually exist and get the key. That jump right there is so much more precise than it looks. That's one of those, like, it looks easy, but when you start learning it, you miss it like 1,000 times before you figure out. So now we find out that the actual Roy is locked in a cage, and that was an imposter all along. So now we have to fight the Amogus. Amogus fight is basically just hanging in the corner and hovering. So if you have a super quick donation, tea tree.
I'll read it super quick. It's $6 from the Valiant Sun because it's very important for me to share. Mira asked, should I wear something formal or fun for her dinner party? If you select the second option, she wears a shirt that says, yes, I'm a rabbit born in May, or something like that for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that was the earlier when I was telling Demon, like, hey, you should not skip this dialogue so you can choose the second option. If you choose the second option there, every time Mira's in a cutscene, she has like a novelty t-shirt that says, yeah, I'm a rabbit and I was born in May and I bought this t-shirt. What about it? So now the imposter pulls the old,
so cute.
Which one of us is the real one? You'll never be able to tell.
I'll see, if it were me, I would have just shot them both.
I did discover if you walk over and hit the real Roy, nothing happens, which is kind of sad. I wish there was some kind of reaction if you try to hit the wrong one, but there's nothing. Which makes sense, I guess. He is in a cage. You're not really hitting him. You're just hitting the outside of the cage.
Just get him saying, "No, I'm afraid of loud noises."
All right, so now we've gotten our last ability upgrade, Dig. The dig spots, you will notice, are kind of similar to the bubbles in that you can slam attack very far away from a dig spot and get sucked into it. They are incredibly forgiving. There is a jump right there where you can skip this whole room, but it is absurdly precise. And this is our infinite bubble that skips like 2 minutes. By going back there, we skip a massive, massive chunk of this area. Yeah, that bubble skip is huge. So now we are into like the back half of this area, and we never did the front half. We are getting super, super close to the end, chat. So if you're thinking, I'm in chat and I would very much like to see some boss rush, you're getting there. We're getting very, very close. How are we doing on that? Are we, what, like 22 away? 20 away?
I believe we're at 17. I'm waiting for one to clear.
17!
So I can read who it's from.
Close!
I know.
We are so close.
It doesn't split cleanly, but like three of you go in for 5, and one of you take the short straw at $2. Make it out.
3 more tickets on that $6 train from Pebble. Easy.
Right?
Yeah, so this is probably the most boring part of the run. We haven't found a skip for this gate yet, so we have to take Dig all the way around through like 4 different rooms, and it takes forever. But then we get to fight Grief. This is Whaler. Whaler's having a rough time, and Whaler's grief personifies into this boss monster that we have to deal with. Luckily, it's a fairly easy fight because, again, we can spam dash attacks.
Yeah, and one fun fact to just note is on easy, all the attacks are performed at like different speeds, and they don't have as many variations. But the second you play on normal, the way that Kyle designed the bosses, the normal bosses are actually really nice to fight. They're really change of pace.
Yeah. If you like challenging boss fights, the way Kyle designs normal and hard are really, really well designed and really fun. We are in the final area now. We are like a minute or 2 away from the end. So if someone wants to get in and snipe that boss rush, now is the time. We got all our friends. We broke into the palace. We are making our way downtown, dashing fast. That is the crystal mirror of note. Oh, you can skip that dialogue. Good to know. And now we are going.
You're learning how to save like 2 of the 3 minutes you're behind.
Exactly. And now we don't fight the final boss. This is a pretty precise lineup here.
$17, Chad.
$17, and we've got probably about 30 seconds to get there. Make it happen. I believe in the dream. I've never believed in anything as much as I believe in you, chat. So what's going on here is a classic like chase sequence to escape the palace after you kill the last boss. Obviously, we did not kill the last boss, but pretend we did. And then the palace starts to collapse around us.
And time's coming up. Right now.
GG's.
After all that trash we've cleaned up and all the friends we've gathered, they've brought us all to this place.
Friends we made along the way.
Happy, how'd you feel when you first saw this cutscene for the first time?
Fine. good and cool.
Definitely weren't a sobbing mess. Understandable.
Oh, I still cry every time I finish a speed run and watch this scene. It gets me every single time.
I know, as a cat owner myself, I feel the same way. The feels.
Yeah, I feel bad that I have my door closed and my two can't get in here right now. But
Credits
You're like,
to the
that'll
dev.
be all right.
Kyle's the man. He's made the speedrunning what it is, implementing the in-game timer, being as open-ended with the community as possible, helping develop even tools for timing methods like the potential boss rush that you guys could have seen. So, you know,
good news is it's no longer potential.
Really?
We received $17 from Neon Tiger. To heck with the ticket. Give me the whole caboose.
Yay!
Thank you so
Yay.
much, friends.
Thank you, Nihon Tiger.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so now we get to see a little bit of what all our friends are doing and the little constellations of all of us in the sky. And it's really sweet and great. But yeah, +1 to Kyle being just the greatest. Kyle has made such a great community by being so supportive of speedrunners, and like when we found a trick in the first version of the game that would have like killed everybody's hands, and we were like, Kyle, we don't want to do this, it's gonna hurt. He just like patched it out for us like the next day. Like, Kyle is incredible. And if you want to support him, you should download and play all of his games. They're all amazing, but especially Crypt Custodian. And you should also join the Kyle Thompson Speedruns Discord and come hang out with us and learn Crypt Custodian, because it's a great game with a great community, and it's pretty darn easy to pick up.
I second that. I think this game's movement and just fighting in general is really contagious, and a lot of people, for even it being simplistic, can get in depth, kind of like you've seen today. And there's more to come, I'm sure, with it being a new game. So if you're interested in getting your hands in on what you see as a potential new speedrun game, please feel free to join the community.
In the meantime, Demon, how about you get those hands ready for our boss rush?
True. Without further ado, the amazing boss rush, where we can shout out Kyle again for the wonderful work he's done to implement a speedrun timer for us to calculate all the boss times together so we don't have to do it manually. Absolutely W. So with that being said, the timer will start as I start the first boss fight. So I'll select powers with predetermined amount of points depending on when you would encounter this fight during the game. So I'll select 2 powers, try to be as strong as possible, and I'll fight this first boss starting now. Now, you'll notice starting with this first boss, it's not going to be much different, but as we progressively go to more and more bosses, we'll see how the powers change the way that we're able to finish certain fights.
A little bit, yeah.
Happy, have you done any boss rush yourself?
I have not boss rushed yet. I'm thinking I need to do it just to get those couple extra seconds off of some of the boss fights, just to improve my any percent. But yeah, so I don't actually know what our optimal loadouts are for all of the boss rush fights, but I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Oh, wow. Whew. That was close a bit. That was close a bit.
That was scary.
I wanted to show how the damage can allow us to just totally take out his whole spinning phase. But now to the tried and true, to the bosses you really looked forward to seeing, we have the Gunk Goliath.
Yeah, this is the first of the bosses that we skipped in any percent.
So as we see, he doesn't like to fight fair and square. He likes to bring his friends out. But with us being the speedy fighters that we are, we can take them down quick as ever.
You might also notice. You first, you're good.
I was gonna say you'll notice a pattern where most bosses will still just get out damaged. These powers are insane.
Yeah, we're very overpowered when we have access to all the upgrades. Oh, I was gonna say you might notice that the timer is stopping, like pausing and then restarting at each boss. In version 1, it actually didn't do that. And that's a perfect example of like Kyle listening to the community and making changes for us. Is we wanted a boss rush timer that would like give us the collective time so we didn't have to do that manually. And it was what, 3 days later, Kyle was like, cool, timer's ready. Incredible how quickly he will put stuff together for us. There's also
being one of the harder ones. As you know, I'm a fan of the dash attack usage, and I can say that that boss promptly stops you in your tracks and makes you rethink all of what you can do with dash attacks. It's quite an amusing fight.
Yeah, I'm so glad we skipped that boss at any percent, just because like dash attack is the mechanic, and it's just not possible against those guys. Similarly, dash attack doesn't work great against tower haunters. Ideally, you will get into a hover and then get the purple guy over and over again, so you just do constant damage on him. But we didn't get perfect RNG there, so Demon just kind of did some backups and went and tanked some damage on the yellow one. Yellow, you can also do quite a bit of damage to. Green, you can do slightly less damage to. And the other one, you can't do pretty much anything. Red. The red one, you just avoid.
It's unfortunate. So if we were to have gotten literally 1 of 2, it's kind of a 50-50 coin flip. Attack patterns, we could have skipped this part. One of the coolest aspects of boss fight or boss rush is just how the optimizations we have in any percent, they may have seemed fast, but they just aren't as fast as they can be. And there's so much you can do in these fights with these powers. And this boss fight could have been one of them.
Moon Man.
One of my favorite fights personally is Moon Man. I love this guy. My favorite fight, though, hands down, when playing this game casually or just learning the speedrun route, was Witch, though. Witch is one of my all-time favorites.
Sure, I honestly really like the Kendra fight. I was a little sad when we found Kendra skip, because Kendra fight's really fun. Luckily, y'all will get to see it in a minute.
True. Kendra fight is one of those fights that is just super unique. One of the only like really huge changing 2-phase fights.
This is what usually happens on Rail Rider, is you get the hover but you don't get close enough, so you're not damaging until the push. And now you'll see the version of Rail Rider where RNG gets a little more involved, because we're not going to do enough damage. Nice! So we didn't do enough damage there to get rid of the outsides before he dropped the second time, which means there's a 25% chance instead of 50% chance that he's going to land in front of us. And so we got very lucky there with him landing on the rail that we were on, so that we were able to max damage there. Also, fun fact, you don't have to move at all horizontally to dodge those attacks. If you do a full height jump, you can just barely dodge them, but it is so much safer to just move horizontally. Yeah, see, you can do it standing still, but it's so much safer to just move.
That fight definitely showed why in any percent when I landed that trick, how important it is to get it first try. It can transition the screen and make the fight just last in certain parts of it longer so you can get more hits in, and just overall makes it so much less RNG based.
Yeah.
Which can be really nice.
Optimal Rail Rider, if you get the early hover and perfect RNG. Oh, I love when you get that and you push them all the way across the... Feels so good. Optimal Rail Rider is about 29 seconds. And if you do Rail Rider with like completely unoptimal, like you are never able to get the good hover and you have to do it intended, it's like a minute 40 something. So it's a huge difference if you don't get that early hover.
He tricked me. I always forget in boss rush. He asked me to identify if I can see the imposter. He got me. Dang it.
Dang.
No. Sorry, a lot of fights to remember these powers for. Alright.
There we go.
And one cool thing we don't necessarily do for RTA purposes as well as just for the fun of boss rush mode is there actually is a glitch where if I was to go to every single boss, all their powers would technically be available to use their points. But one fun fact about that system is when you leave, you end up not getting rid of the powers you had equipped. So you can essentially go to every boss and equip every single power in the game and then just go fight them. Which, no.
You did get the, if you get like a fully optimal first phase, which Demon just did there, Grief sets down the spot for you to dig to avoid this attack. Yeah, there it is again. So the spot gets set down, but the second part of the attack never happens. So the flag to make that dig spot disappear never gets like lifted. So you just have a dig spot there that's not supposed to be there. And you could use it to dodge attacks, but that's slower. But it is interesting. You have a very clear visual marker if you had a perfect first phase.
Yeah, and one thing to note, that's always really nice about this game, you may see me doing the dash attacks quite a lot for, what seems like the best fights you can achieve, but you can actually be extremely close with just basic gameplay. It's only like seconds difference between playing with dash attacks versus actual attacks, which is something that's just really nice about the game as a whole. You have a lot of variety in how you want to play.
There's some mashing involved in the dash attacking, but it's not super bad. It's a little risky strat there, keeping the hover going. Those walls are tall enough that they damage you even if you're in hover. But if we do enough damage there, we can get into phase 2, and it should pretty much be safe. And then time is on last hit of Kendra.
Yes. So coming up here shortly, right now.
That's time.
GG's.
Yay. And with the run plus the boss rush, you were under your run estimate.
Yeah, the game
we love
developed
that for you.
quite a bit in the past 6 weeks, a lot faster than we would think. Where, starting out with some of the earlier runners, Nupali being one of the big contributors, finding 2 of the different boss skips, all the way until the previous past 3 weeks, where 2 more bosses have been able to be skipped, as well as new movement tech with the infinite bubbles. So it's it's been, you know, the ball's rolling, and you never know when it's going to stop. And so it's been quite a blast to be a part of it and to see the time come down so low in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's a really great game and a really special community and a really fun run. And we would love to have any of you join if you are interested in it.
Well, with that
And
concludes...
if people want to find you, where can they do that?
Indeed. As you may have heard, Happy mentioning my PB's a 40-36. We are tantalizingly close to a pretty big barrier. And so if you want to see me try to strive for that great 39, you can come join me at twitch.tv/Daemonweave. Name should be on screen, as well as see any of my runs that I end up getting on my YouTube with the same name. It'll be a blast, and I look forward to seeing anybody if they want to partake in speedrunning. As Happy also said, I'm more than encouraging of new runners or anybody who's interested to any level, even if you just want to try it one time, in helping you be able to succeed in your goals and just enjoy the game for what it is, because it really is a wonderful speedrun.
Yeah, we will be ecstatic to see new people in the Discord and so stoked to help you learn. So yeah, if you're at all interested, join us. It'll be great.
And with that, I want to thank the hosts, the marathon, the amazing fundraiser, and such a meaningful thing to so many of us. So thank you, not just for allowing me to present this boss rush for you, but for raising money towards such a great cause. With that, thank you to the community for helping me just enjoy this game and make it my passion for the last 6 weeks, and for being able to showcase it. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Happy, and thank you to everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Daemonweave and Happy by 3. That was really fantastic. Like I mentioned, I've hosted for Sheepo before, so I knew a little bit about what to expect from this kind of run from Kyle Thomas, from his games, and it was just an absolute pleasure to be able to see that. All right, I think we are almost ready for the next run. A little teaser for you as we get things prepared, so don't go anywhere. There will be some science conducted very soon. Hey friends, so thank you so much for being here for more of Running Through Wonderland, a speedrunning marathon for mutual aid benefiting our friend Alice as she prepares for gender-affirming surgery in February 2025. We are here raising money to help with the costs of that gender affirming surgery, because cost of surgery can be very high when you factor in things like a hospital stay, travel, and life accommodations one would need while healing from that procedure. If you would like to help Alice out, and if your means allow you to do so, please type !donate in chat. I do also want to remind you that we are just $44 from meeting our milestone incentive for getting a bonus portal run. You have until the end of this run that is coming up right about now. So !donate in chat. Donate within your means if you are able to do so.